The Wide Awakening presents the Soul Open House webinar with Jennifer Hough. Lean in as Jennifer explains what soul is, its benefits, and what's included within each level. And now, here is author, speaker, and awakening coach, Jennifer Hough.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm so excited to have you here as you jump on this beautiful Zoom webinar. We are now in the process of having a conversation together all about the School of Unlimited Life and the evolutions that we've made to the Wide Awakening. In support of the deep changes that are happening in the world, enhancing our ability to be agents of awakening, meaning all of us, not just me, and really allowing us to exponentiate each other as opposed to doing it all alone. There are some changes to the operating system for humanity. I haven't read books for ages because I've been just bringing through information for so long. But recently I've been reading books that have been very much along the lines, for the first time I've seen them along the lines of the new operating system, from survival to actually creating upon creation. So I want to welcome everybody who's here for the very first time and maybe has never been on a Wide Awakening webinar. And I want you to know that much of what we do is experiential. We're all about you actually changing your life rather than talking about how you change it. We're all about evolving the degree of flow and fluidity in your life. Really, it's all about living in the miracle zone. And when we say that, it's not a fluffy concept. For me, it's an extension of physics. It's an extension of a fractal universe. It's an extension of the fact that your biochemistry is a direct reflection of your outlook on life. So for me, it's an extremely scientific thing to be able to apply the principles of physics in a real life way, such that you embody those new ways of being. And embodiment means it becomes automatic so that you can live your life that way. So for the new people, I hope that helps a little bit. For people who've been around, I suggest, if you're smart, let go of everything you think you know, okay? If you're really up for evolving your journey right now, if you're really up for not fixing the past, but actually creating a new future, then I recommend that you let go of what you have a beginner's mind. Let go of what you think you know. That goes for everyone. And let's just dive in together in a co-creative experience and conversation. You guys up for that? You could just say yes, or you could say no. Then you could just have your own conversation with yourself, which would be cool too, to each his own. So you guys, hello from all over the world. I'm so excited to share with you what we've been up to at TWA. All right, you guys, let's officially start our conversation about the School of Unlimited Life. 20 years ago, 15 years ago actually, I had a vision about something called the School of Unlimited Life. I developed a logo and the whole thing. I didn't know what it was. Have you ever had those moments where you met someone or you created something and it hadn't come to fruition, or it wasn't obvious what it was yet? This happens to me all the time in the world of people I know, that one day I'm going to work with them, or one day they're going to be a client, or one day maybe they're going to work with us, or, I have these little instincts that I know you and we're supposed to do something. And in the real world, you have that instinct, but it could be 5 years from now, or it could be a year from now, or it could be next week. Because in the land of no time, those instincts kind of transcend the linearity of our lives. You have an instinct, but you don't know when. Some people get really attached to that instinct, and then they try to force something to happen when it wasn't ready. Do you ever do that? So there's a way of dancing with life, that actually has everything come to you. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, you guys probably don't even know this, when I first started to be able to see holographically, I actually was developing a movie with 2 other people, Brad Morris and, actually 3 other people, with my assistant, with Brad, and with Matthew. And it was called The Mission Possible. And The Mission Possible was all about children who are making quantum leaps in the world. And the reason I wanted to make a movie about them is they so inspired me, because they didn't adhere to all of the rules that adults did, that said that you have to do it this way, you should follow the rules, you have to go to school. Like, everything took decades according to the adults. And these kids were raising, one of them raised, the first person we interviewed raised $6 million for tsunami relief, and he was 12. And there were all sorts of people like that. And I thought to myself, what if adults who have the resources, the financial resources, or the, they have their own house, or they have the friends and the connections, or at least they can get them, understood that operating system that has these kids. There's a girl who had a lemonade stand in Southern Ontario. She raised over $100,000. And I thought, what is she doing that the rest of the adults in this world don't know? Why are adults working so hard? So this movie, The Mission Possible, started to feature these kids, not so we could go, phew, I don't have to do anything, they're doing everything. It was more to activate the possibility that we could play without the confines of that adult mind that has learned all the limitations to being in a body on a planet. Whereas kids generally don't operate from those limitations. They operate from a wide open state of yes. And feel free to comment if you understand what I'm saying. Sometimes they have no filters on what they say, but sometimes it gets them miraculous results. Like, these kids being in the movie, they didn't ask to be in our movie. We actually found them. So they were so excited to be in it, but everything came to them, right? So how does anyone live a life like that? It's not about making movies. It's not even about changing the world. What I'd love to know right now is, what do you think stops us as a society? What do you think stops us as a society from, even though we have vast differences, being able to honor each other's differences and actually utilize them to create upon creation, to catalyze new ideas, and to have fun on this planet instead of protect from each other? What do you think is missing? Why do you think that happens, that we fight, that we war, that we never actually get on with creating upon creation, because we're so busy expending our energy trying to protect from what our father did to us when we were 12, or from what that guy in university did, or from, how your mother treated you when your father died. I mean, there are so many scenarios, many of which I have lived. There are so many scenarios that we make up ways of operating, that if you actually imagine that human beings are basically divine children of an infinite universe, and that infinite universe has no limitations on it. And as children, we know, but what happens is, if the universe over here is wide and expansive, but what you decided to do is put all sorts of limitations on the universe, only a few of the rays of sunshine will get through. because you're just not willing to fully choose to be in a body on a planet. So let me say this again. As soon as you put limits, protective mechanisms, as soon as you say, I'm willing to go sailing as long as it's sunny, as soon as you say, I'm willing to go on a retreat as long as it's all women, as soon as you say, you know, I'd be willing to start dating, but only if I lose 20 pounds first. And there are much more serious things, like some of the things that were the limitations that I put on myself before, which was men had to be a certain way in order for me to be happy. So I had to control the relationship in my 20s to try to fix the other human beings so they didn't actually be themselves. They were actually the way that I was more comfortable with. It took me a long time to stop controlling in relationships. What do you do? So I love that we have that a lot of what you feel are that expectations, fear of judgment, all of those things actually stop us from being full on. Worried about that people are going to fully see us. You know, one of the biggest things is judgments. The funny thing about judgment is this: whether you fully be yourself or whether you've changed yourself and morphed yourself into someone you think is more acceptable to everybody else, you don't rock too many boats or shake too many trees, I promise you the same amount of people are judging you. And you're inspiring very few people. Meanwhile, if you actually be yourself and express as the human being that you were born to be before you got here, the cool thing is the same amount of people will judge you. And they're going to judge you anyways, but you're going to inspire some people. And here's the greatest thing about it all, is at least one of you is happy. Right? At least one of you is happy. The other scenario, really and truly, I promise you, everyone needs everyone else to change in order for them to be happy. So this is the basis upon which, I don't know if anyone recognizes themselves in this, but this is the basis upon which the School of Unlimited Life was born. It was born out of something that happened way, way back that I had no idea what it was, but I had to be willing to let go of it in my mind. It was born out of, and not act on it because I didn't know what it was yet. And then, you know, this movie that we created with all these kids understanding this other way of operating. And I'm like, I want to know what that operating system is. I want to get back to that. I want to be that free to create upon creation and not give a rip about what other people think as judgments. And I want to have that creative way of being where you get non-linear results without all the shoulds, musts, and have tos. I wanted to understand that. And what got launched was this journey of understanding the operating system for really the gene keys, not for the biology, which is something that we've learned to understand as well, but the gene keys for the new operating system for humanity, which is a whole other world based on the engineering of the soup in which we swim and how we can relate to life differently such that we're free without the need to morph ourselves, but simply to be the full expression of the piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth that you came here to be. Is this making sense? Now, I would love to hear from you. Can you see that there's room for you to actually be more free? Can you feel that calling, that there's more for you to express? Is it just me 20 years ago that started feeling that way? Or have you actually felt that inside of you? That little sense that there's more. Even if you are getting on with it and you're creating stuff, like I know many of the people that are listening right now are, there's almost like a sense that you can quantum leap it, that the linear results are so much less than what's possible. So the kids, School of Unlimited Life, which I had no idea what it even was. Then recently something happened, which we will do an upgrade of this, hopefully every year at the Omega Institute in upstate New York. We did a program, and it turned out to be a program all about the operating system for a new humanity. And I'm going to give you like maybe 5 to 8 different, let's say, how it was versus how really consciousness is designing it to be. Let me get us all on the same page, though. I think, and thank you all for your comments and for contributing your words. Some of you are amazing creators and have felt free, but even the people that feel free, they were catalyzed by, well, I don't belong. So as a default, since nobody's going to accept me the way I am, I guess I'll just fly free and be myself. But what that can end up doing is having you be rebellious. And remember, the number one cause of unproductivity and ultimately even depression, I don't know if do you guys know what the number one cause of depression or ups and downs is? Let's see if anyone can guess. What do you think it is? Exactly. It's community or lack thereof. It's disconnection from others, including your greater wisdom, your disconnection from, if you believe in guides or angels or other realms, other aspects of consciousness that carry wisdom that you can tap into regardless of what you call them. You know, I know what I call them for myself. What happens is when we disconnect from all of that, you feel like you're doing everything alone. And what does it feel like when you feel like you're doing everything alone? When you feel like you have no support, when you feel like you're only 5% or less three-dimensional, you're 95% multidimensional. When you cut yourself off from 95% of you, you've got to know that it feels like caca-doo-doo. That's my technical term, by the way, caca-doo-doo. So, so the point is this, you guys, that sense of disconnection is the number one cause of depression. But why that's relevant to this discussion is because the School of Unlimited Life is about connection. It's about, 111 plus 111 equals 111,111. 1 plus 1 equals 11. So it's an exponentiation. It provides us the ability to exponentiate. And it takes us out of the operating system of the dog eat dog. So I hope you're up for that. But it really takes us out of the operating system of the dog eat dog world where every man for himself and there's only a small piece of pie. And you have to understand that most people are living in a state, as I talked about earlier on our 13 Days of Awakening, a state of entropy. They're constantly in reaction, going more and more towards chaos. And they're in reaction to the shoulds, musts, and have-tos that they're trying to accomplish based on what society told them they should do. But the truth is, there's an overarching syntropy. And syntropy is really about that every aspect of consciousness, every creation, every infinite wisdom expression, every thing we've ever created, everything that's still lying in wait as potential as a creation is in syntropy. It's all communicating with the other, and so are we. The greater picture of all of us is that we're all communing. We're emanating photon packages of light, as science is now finding out. They started with understanding that trees and plants emanate photon patches of light. They give them out, and it's one of the ways that plants know how to grow, where to grow. They talk to each other about nutrients and soil in their own plant sort of way. Well, we do exactly the same way. That's how your instincts know if it's someone you're supposed to hang out with or not. When you walk in a room, do I want to be here or not? When you hear someone talk, you know whether they're authentic or not. Because the photon packages of light that people are emanating are more based on authenticity and alignment and less based on manipulation and trying to get somewhere. They're more vivid based on the passion of the person speaking about it, and they're less vivid based on the fear the person has. And photon packages of light are received by the receptor sites on the outside of your cell, and they also envelop your DNA, photon packages of light. They amplify your DNA. So imagine that you're communicating about who you are and what you're up to in this world ongoingly every day, trillions of times per second, out of 75 trillion cells, out into the cosmos, and photons travel around the world 7 times in a second. So trust me when I say, as you make changes and you make the world a better place, the whole world knows about it on an energetic level. Remember what we're going to go back to. 95% of you lives at that level. So when you're constantly trying to do from an I'm alone state and you forget, you are in survival mode. And in survival mode, the mere partaking in survival mode, as you partake in I'm alone, as you partake in the idea it's all up to me, as you partake in the idea, well, I mean, no one else is going to do it unless I do it. As you partake in the, well, no one else is making that person happy, I guess I have to carry them. As you partake in the carrying the weight of the world, carrying your family, carrying everyone, you instantaneously, not through your intent, much more powerful than intent, which is our first shift. I told you I'm going to tell you the shifts in operating system. We're going from the world of intent to the world of embodied action. So I'll show you an example. As you intend things, even pray, all of those things are wonderful, but if you actually don't take action based on the internal inspiration, you get like 1,000th of the results, 1/1000th of the results. It's actually your action that tells consciousness that you're interested in something different. So the world has listened to lots of things about The Secret and the law of attraction and all of these things, but that was the beginning of a huge journey for a shift in operating systems. It was the baby step. Intent is just a drop in the bucket compared to you embodying yourself as the intention you came here to be. So let me talk about what we're going to talk about from here. Is everyone with me? Are you getting this? Are you picking up what I'm putting down so far? Whole other operating system is about living in an embodied state as the piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth that you are, without giving a rip about the judgments or assessments of others, because the only thing you care about is that the entire universe thought you were a good idea, put you on the planet, wanted to co-create with you, not micromanage your life so you would never be judged. It wanted to co-create, because that's what creation is. It's all about creation. But when you withdraw and you become the 5%, you are not being the 95%, which not only includes all of your greater wisdom states, where all of the information to make quantum leaps is, which, by the way, is the only way that this world will change. We must, not you, we must live in the state of embodied superpowers so that we can make non-linear results of embodiment as a group of co-conspirators for heaven on earth. And I don't mean as a mission. Please don't hear this as a mission. I mean, literally, as a soul, you just came here to play and co-create what's better for humanity constantly, not as an obligation, but as a thrill, as a privilege, as a way to learn, as a way to have fun. You are We are. First of all, we are, without anything else on the end. If there was a theme to our flight school, our year-long program this year, I would say that the theme was we are. But we are fingers of the hand of greater consciousness. So let me talk for 2 seconds about the idea of the new operating system. Because in order to talk about the School of Unlimited Life, which I will get to in 2 seconds, so I can show it to you, so you could see what we did, I want to give a context to it, which I have been so far, but this is an important context. For a long time, I was part of something called the Evolutionary Business Council. I still am. Maybe some of you on the line right now are part of the EBC. It's an amazing organization. And I am one of the co-founders of that entity. But little unbeknownst to me, I found out that the other 4 leaders kind of had language for me. They called me the lone wolf, right? That's what they used to call me. They called me the lone wolf. And they called me the lone wolf because I felt like nobody understood me. I felt like I had always operated differently. I felt like I also was frustrated because I didn't know how to bridge how I was living, how I was living in the miracle zone to even my parents. I didn't know how to find the language to let the people at my workplace, when I worked at the big multinational, I didn't understand why they were being political or talking behind each other's back or all that kind of stuff. I didn't judge it. I just thought I was getting it wrong. Even when I was little, I didn't understand at 5 years old why I knew why people were fighting. Even at 17, I knew that, there were wars and things happening in the world that were completely preventable if people had just understood what I saw. Did you ever feel that way when you were younger, where you felt like the world could be a different place, but you felt like you must be the one that's getting it wrong? I'm saying that, and I know half of you are going to say, well, actually, I feel that way now. So this is for everyone who's ever felt like either you wish it was possible, but you're not sure if you believed it. You wish it was possible that we could we could get on with just doing our jobs, which is creating. But you're not so sure. So some people still are like, well, I'm not so sure. I think mostly I just have to survive, right? It's just about survival. Or some of you know that it's 100% possible, right? You know that it's possible. You know that it's possible to actually build those bridges. You just don't know how to build them. And that's what this operating system has to do with. So I mentioned early, I'm just coming back around. By the way, one of the things about the new operating system is you could talk circularly. Yesterday, as we talked about the Mayan calendar and the 13 days of awakening, we talked about an upward spiral of how the evolution of humanity, when you look at a Mayan calendar, it looks like a circle, when in actuality, it's a series of circles and they're constantly evolving up. So as I'm talking, I speak like that Mayan calendar. I make a reference here, but I'll come back around to it. For some people that have very linear minds, it drives them absolutely friggin' crazy. But I promise you, I'll always come back around. And I'm also saying this for giving permission to the people who actually speak that way. So operating system. We did this program at the Omega Institute, which we'll do an evolution of that from now on every year. And it was the first time where I talked about a new operating system for humanity. How does it marry to what I was just talking about? Well, because I always felt different. And I didn't understand that I was born into a way of operating that was so different from other people that I felt so separate. I know a lot of you have felt that way, but some of you not. It doesn't matter. This new operating system doesn't just apply to people who felt separate or felt like they didn't belong. It applies to everyone. So what ended up happening is that curiosity that got launched as a result of that movie about the children, the curiosity was about what are they doing and why does it resonate so much with me? And then how do adults do it? Well, the fruition of all of that was the workshop at the Omega Institute. And I want to tell you some changes in the operating system to contextualize why School of Unlimited Life finally came to fruition. And we'll just get on with telling you what it is and how to play. Okay, so don't worry, I'm getting there. Take me a couple of minutes. So in the old operating system, what would happen is, so for those of you that kind of think you've figured out like how consciousness works, I really request that you hold that all loosely. Just breathe for a moment and let yourself be catalyzed and allow your mind to expand at the speed of consciousness as I say some things that maybe you've thought before, but I'm going to put language to them. I find in our world, my job is to put language around some things that people have already been feeling. Some of these things you will have heard before. If you've heard them before, I ask you to allow them to go deeper. Remember, things are constantly spiraling up, so new wisdom is constantly here. So as I'm speaking them, allow whatever's new that I'm not saying that lies in that other 95% of consciousness to just seep and infuse you and upgrade your physiology so you can dance more directly with consciousness. So here are some of the changes. Prior to the last, I would say 10 years, when people were looking to have a better life, it was very much about looking at what they perceived was in the way, or looking at what they perceived was the problem or the issue, and then you go to a therapist, a Reiki master, a chiropractor, or whatever. You focus most of your energy on solving the problem and putting all your focus on how do I resolve this. And probably there's a lot of people listening right now that still do this, and that's okay. Me too. I did it for a long, long, long time. But these days, in this increase in frequency, consciousness is constantly listening to our askings. So it responds with solutions. And if you still operate down here where we were 10 years ago, you're actually going to miss the boat. Because up here, when old patterns come up, what happens is they're coming up to leave. I'm going to say it differently. Instead of them coming up for you to analyze or address or talk to someone about, which are all good, there's nothing wrong with that. Those things are coming up in your body because as you remember yourself more, as you become happier, as you do things that are more fulfilling, as you have these amazing ahas, you capacitate more of the flow of all of consciousness. In another way of saying it, you become happier and more fulfilled. You let in more of the light that's around you. You let in the goodness that consciousness is constantly want to give your way. But that's like taking a filthy, dirty swimming pool, or for some of you, not so dirty, just like a little green, and you're pouring in perfectly clear, incredible crystalline water. And what happens is it displaces all the goo on the bottom and it rises to the top. Now, if goo rose to the top in a swimming pool, you wouldn't be asking the goo how come it's there. In fact, if you wanted to do the easiest thing, you could just keep the hose running of the crystal clear water and all of the goo would eventually either dissolve or it would rise to the top and leave. And the whole time you would be focused on the crystal clear, incredible water, which is the metaphor for your life. You'd be focused on the expansion of that which works. And in physics, where you put your attention, so if you're looking to free yourself of the past by addressing the past, it's going to be a lot tougher journey than actually creating a different future. It's all coming up to leave. Now in physics, how does this work? How it works in physics is that as you rise in frequency, So as you pour in more crystal clear remembering of who you are, which at the Wide Awakening, everything we do is about activating the truth of who you are, because we find it much more efficient than excavating all the things that aren't true about you. We find that what happens is, which is a second paradigm of the new operating system, address the beauty that you were born to be. Actually activate that, show you clearly what your life looks like living that way, such that it becomes so activated that the stuff that doesn't matter to you, that the stuff that is old, the old patterns that protected you, become insignificant. And as they become insignificant, the higher frequency at which you live actually starts to dissolve the lower frequencies. Just like crystal clear water diluting the mud and having the dirt actually dissolve into the water. You see what I'm saying? It's an entirely different operating system, and it allows you to transcend thousands of old beliefs rather than one at a time. Okay? So the next piece of this operating system is that independence becomes over. How many, I would love to hear from you. Maybe you're someone who's felt independent. Have you ever felt like you're alone, like not a lot of people understand you, and oh, well, I guess if nobody else gets me, I'm going to have to do it on my own. Da, 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 da. You know, I even remember getting confirmed when I was 12 years old, and the minister was talking something about Jesus, and I'm like, that is not what Jesus meant, like at all. And I started laughing, and oh my God, did they all ever shame me? Because I just knew that what he was saying wasn't quite true. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Now, 12-year-olds just speak truth to power. So I did. That didn't go over so well. But the point is this, you guys. The point is I got trained into not opening my mouth. I got trained into my independence. Oh, well, nobody else thinks like me. I guess I'm on my own. And the other thing is I would always find new and efficient ways to do stuff. Some people would peel an orange this way. I'd figure out a way to peel an orange way faster or way funner, right? So I was always dreaming up new ways. So this independence thing. Oh, and by the way, I used to think that I was talking to my dog I remember being 8 years old, lying on the floor and having a conversation with my dog. Now, I talked myself out of that's what was actually going on. I talked myself out of it because I started asking people, and they're like, no, you can't talk to dogs. You can't talk to animals. Trees don't talk to you. There's no communication. Funny thing was, it's like I kind of had a sense of what my dog was feeling, but I wrote it off. Oh, well, losing little pieces of myself over time. What about you guys? Right? So the point is, independence is what our culture teaches us. It teaches us because somehow if you did it all your own, it holds a lot more weight and a lot more value, and you're a lot more worthwhile if you did it all by yourself. P.S. Your ego loves independence, because if you don't do it with the collective of the 95% of all of you, and if you don't do it with the collective of everyone else in the world who all anyone ever wants to do, if you asked your best friend or your 5 top friends right now, listen, would you help me, I don't know, rearrange my kitchen? We could have a pizza party or whatever it is. Gluten-free, I know, goat cheese, hello. But would you come over? They would be thrilled. You tell them how overwhelmed you've been, et cetera, et cetera. They would be so happy to come and help, but we don't operate from that. We do it all ourselves. And the operating system of humanity and the ego and the collective ego. So collective ego is another concept. The collective ego is an environment in which we swim. The collective ego says, be independent and prove yourself. Now, you might be proving yourself to your teachers, might be proving yourself to your husband, you might be proving yourself to your father, you might be proving yourself to a teacher you had when you were 3, whoever it is. But when you prove yourself, listen closely, because this is profound. When you feel like you have to prove your worth or prove your value or prove anything, the only way to do it is alone, because if you got help, you would not have proved anything. because it wasn't you proving it. You did it with a bunch of others. And therefore, it's no longer a legit, it'll never be enough. So it's not a, so here's another one. Independence, instead of independence, it's actually co-creativity. Instead of proving oneself, it becomes a world where you're only interested in how much fun can we have creating something that improves life. So you're not about proving anything, you're just about co-creating. Another idea is that entropy is the idea of the ego in the old organization of life. Syntropy is the actual fundamental way that all things are organized. In a fractal universe, they're organized that way. Everything affects everything. If you move one molecule of water in the ocean, the whole ocean has to change. It's completely organized. So it's understanding that we, on that level, are one, but on this level, we're expressions of that one with different personalities and different ways of looking at things that catalyze each other because of the contrast of our different views of life. If everyone was the same and milquetoast, as they say in Toronto, if everything was milquetoast, then there'd be nothing up to create or change. And we are creator consciousness in human form. So you're starting to see. So the last piece I'm going to say about the new operating system is that it's okay to look at the issues as they come up, but only as a function of going after the truth of who you are. So instead of thinking like Freud did and like Jung did, that the way to a great life is to so analyze yourself that you get all of that stuff out of the way, and then somehow some friggin' great life is supposed to happen. It doesn't even make sense. How are you supposed to have a great life if you've never had one? It's in the pursuit of the great life and the skills that cause thriving that actually start to make all the things that have been in your way less interesting. And in that process, can you see the new operating, see the difference? We so want to get, we're so addicted to getting results that we go after the problem because at least then we can get a result, but it never actually causes you to thrive, to truly be in total freedom, going direct with all of consciousness. Is that making sense? So, all right. So Rob is telling me, reminder to chat. Okay, and select the drop down above the chat and switch from all panelists to other and attendees. Okay, well, we'll do that. We'll just do that. So good. All right, you guys. So can you see some of the operating system shifts? Interesting, isn't it? Oh, here's another one about intention. That your intention from your mind becomes completely almost irrelevant to the intention that you embody through your actions and what the universe observes in your activity that tells it which trajectory you're going on. The actions become exponentially more powerful. The embodied actions based on the piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth that you're starting to remember you are become exponentially more powerful than any intention. And then intention was just a stepping stone to getting to that place of full embodiment. So there's another operating system shift. Is this making sense to you guys? So we're going to go from there, okay? We're going to go from there to, so what did we just do? What did you do? It's like how I say it to my dog, what did you do? So what do we do? Well, as we looked at all these factors, and especially since that Omega Institute conversation, which I talked about many of those, this is the way it was, and this is where we're headed. This is the way it was, and this is where we're headed. Imagine if everything was just coming up to leave and you didn't have to address it and wrestle it to the ground. Imagine the more that you focused on creating upon creation and embodying the skills to be able to have a great life, the stuff that you used to analyze and spend lots of money, taking care of, a lot of it got taken care of without you. Some of it you still need to address, but you would know the stuff that you had. It's just obvious what you need to address. The rest of it seems to work out while you just sleep it off. Higher levels just access it and transmute it. It's available, happens to me all the time. Ask the people in flight school, they'll tell you, right? So, all right, this is what we did. What we did is we said, what are the missing things? Basically, the question I asked you at the beginning, what are the missing things? Why do you think the world why aren't we having as much fun as we should? Why are we not creating upon creation? Well, because, first of all, we forgot that 1 + 1 = 11. My 75 trillion cells don't get added to your 75 trillion. It's my 75 trillion cells times your 75 trillion cells. That's the first thing. The School of Unlimited Life is based on that premise. The second thing is, so it's getting nonlinear results. The next thing it's based on is the idea that we're all in this together. Nobody has to think like anybody else. However, the mutual honoring of each other's dance could inspire each other. The next is that each of us have superpowers and skills that consciousness gave us before we got here. We came in with a physical body that has both junk DNA and unutilized multidimensional powers, let's say, things that help us to, know the energy of a room, or know what would be in the highest to respond to someone to get them back in their heart, or things that would put us more in harmony with the nature of everything, including the Mayan calendar we just talked about in the 13 days creation fest. That's completely aligned with the cosmos. Well, if you align completely with the cosmos, scientifically speaking, 28-day cycles of moon and sun, and the water in your body and your chemistry and the electromagnetics of your body are completely being affected by that. Let's live in harmony with that, rather than forcing ourselves to take the human main operating system to try to get our piece of the puzzle. But see, nobody's talking about what's the alternative. People talk about bits and pieces, but how do you actually embody those skills? How do you actually thrive in total concert with the way this world was built? Really, physically, three-dimensionally, cosmically, astrophysically, and even in the realm of physics. And the last thing that inspired the School of Unlimited Life was this. I'm just going to talk personally, and maybe you'll relate to this. I knew there was another way when I was born, and I somehow allowed myself to be catalyzed to figure this out. Maybe it's a function of my parents. Maybe it's my, where I came, whatever spaceship I came in on. But I'm letting myself be dreamed by consciousness. And I know I can see and feel holographically what happens to the world when we all allow ourselves to be dreamed by the dream of our own future trajectory based on everything we've ever lived in this lifetime and others. And how do you do that? So the School of Unlimited Life basically is this. We put together programs in 3 different tiers. And the first tier has a whole bunch of free things that teach you about the new operating system, some of the skills necessary, how to change your thinking, and catalyze. They give some tools to be able to start to understand. And that first level of the School of Unlimited Life we called 101. I'll actually show it to you, you guys. I'll actually show you what it looks like in a second. And then we thought, well, that would be getting people used to the idea and starting, they already know that the world is being catalyzed a different way because there's so much contrast right now, but it's sort of getting you used to and allowing yourselves to catch up to, right? And many of you have listened to a lot of the things in that level. We're calling it 101. But the next level is a bachelor's degree in the School of Unlimited Life. And in that, what we did is, and in every single level, there is a way to play together. So in that 101 level, many of you are already on the TWA Playground on Facebook. We're making that available to all, and everyone who's in level 101, you're going to go and play on the playground if you so wish. But it's co-creating, inspiring, and doing all that kind of stuff. But in the bachelor's, we realized there are people that want answers. There are people that don't want to do this alone. There are people that want the wisdom that's available to them. There are people that want to ask the questions of the stuff that they're stuck on. They're so bored of doing it by themselves. They've been independent their whole life, proving and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know what? This time in our history is all about like how much, like this sense of urgency inside of me, it's ready to burst. I'm giving birth here. And so for those people, the bachelor's degree is a place to play where we have a private page and where myself and my team assist you to answer all those questions in something we call Heart Sparks. And Heart Sparks is a monthly call. That monthly call directly gets inspired and channeled because what happened to me in my 20s is I started to see the world holographically. I started to see the future trajectory of where each individual person is going and the collective is going depending on where I focused. I could see people's biology and biochemistry and how aligned it is with the reason why they were born. And so this is an opportunity to tap into that connection and also activate your ability to do your own reading by assisting you with the questions you have, because my job, my piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth is the engineering of the operating system. My entire ancestry is engineers, all of them. And so my job is to show you what I see in the operating system so you can get an alignment. Just had that happen with someone today where they had been trying so hard to force a part of this project that they were working on to go a certain way. Also looking at something in their family where they were trying to get someone to change. And I could see there was misalignment because they were trying to be comfortable or safe as opposed to doing what's in the highest for all of humanity and for their life, allowing that situation and that person to try to come back. See, they weren't leaving any space for that. They were making it all about them. And as I showed them what was happening and showed them the hologram, what happened is their behavior completely changed. And within 2 hours, I got an email back of how everything had fallen into place because they got out of the way of the natural order of things. That happens every day, all day long to me and our clients. So it's very powerful. So in that second level, the bachelor's level, you get my help and my team's help and me being able to see your hologram and assist you to get into alignment and start to be able to, not even start, enhance and deepen your relationship to your own wisdom. Because when you hear me start talking, you'll know that you already knew, you already instinctually had a feeling because your cells were picking up the photons. When I give language to it, you'll start to get more and more and more confidence in your ability to go direct. Imagine if the whole world was able to go direct with their own innate wisdom. What would happen? Would we need to go to war with each other? No. Because, so here's a vision that I want you to catch. When we actually get in connection to our own innate intelligence based on the trajectory we were born to go on in this vast array of potentials, the most natural array of potentials for us based on everything we've ever lived and our skill sets. When we get into alignment with that, what happens is consciousness already considers every other human being that's alive. It already considers every other planet, every other species, how much air there is, how much water there is. It considers everything that exists, both physical and non-physical. And then it inspires you to action, which oftentimes you won't even know why you're doing it, but you know that it's right action. It's aligned. When you start living your life that way, you'll get non-linear results all over the place. The same way I met the Oprah producers. It's the same way that I keep getting upgraded to first class flights for absolutely no reason. Last time I was about my dog getting upgraded to a first class flight. It just starts happening. Not because it's all about me, but because, or you, it's not all about you. It's about a state of flow that is your natural birthright. And so allowing me and the team to assist you in Heart Sparks once a month, having a call with all of your questions. And trust me, your cosmic support team, all of you, each other, start asking questions you didn't even know you had that will change your life. And also having a lot of those questions right on the Heart Sparks private. It's a secret page that only people that are part of the bachelor's program can join. And that's where I will go and deliberately answer questions or redirect to the monthly call. It'll be every day. Okay, that's one of the differences. On the playground, I'm posting inspirational things, but not asking personal questions. The personal questions are for secret pages that other people can't, and it will help the whole. It's a very vulnerable place to play. So Heart Sparks are an hour and a half long, and our first one that we've announced to the general public is actually tomorrow night. So yeah, so it's pretty powerful. All right. The third level is actually which is really powerful. To me, this is just the biggest, so Heart Sparks, just the call alone is usually $33 a month. But in actuality, the bachelor's level includes Heart Sparks. It includes all of those introductory programs that I talked about. So the entire first level, the 101, is included in the bachelor's level. And then plus, there's a couple of programs included, like the full 12 days of awakening, along with a couple of really important Heart Sparks from the past, and very powerful, and some introductories to get out of your own way. So it's good. The last level, which is called the honors level. In the honors level, it's $55 a month, but it includes get out of your own way, get out of your own way online every year, or half price off coming live and in person, which we never give deals on coming in person to get out of your way because you're working directly with me and I'm assisting you. So for $55, you get the Heart Sparks and get out of your own way, and half price off of any live get out that you ever want to do. Plus there's a whole bunch of other programs that come with it, including a piece of the innate abilities, which are all about your superpowers, the 12 dimensions of DNA, the 12 days of awakening, and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm going to show it to you. Okay, you guys. So if you have any questions, just save them, but I'm going to show it to you. Rob, can you bring us to the page where the School of Unlimited Life is? By the way, I want to tell you what the gift is that you already got given and you don't even know it. So this is one of the most important things I'm going to say all night. Everybody who registered tonight is already part of level of 101. We just enrolled you in level 101. So all of that free juicy stuff that I talked about, you already are part of that. So which is super cool, but I want to show it to you. So I don't know, Rob, if you can share the screen, or if I should do that. There we go. Oh, Rob, if you can take us to the other page. The other page. Yeah. So this is the School of Unlimited Life. So at the top of this, you'll see our new totally inspired logo. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my God, I can't even stand it sometimes. Our graphic artist so gets us. Okay, and right below that, you will see, and by the way, you can follow along with us if you don't want to watch this screen, but you can. It's at, actually, Rob, if you want to put into the chat the link, and then everyone can see what the link is. It's www.thewideawakening.com/SOUL, I do believe. So it says, welcome to the School of Unlimited Life, a global community of agents of awakening and unicorns who support, encourage, and inspire each other while activating each other's purpose. So as we go down, you'll see my my totally crazy looking face there in a video. That's worth watching all by itself. And so as we go down the page a little bit more, you'll see in here, and thank you, beautiful beings, for your gorgeous testimonials of our work. So the School of Unlimited Life is really about picking your levels. Here is a general idea of what it is. You'll see that there's Soul 101. This is about, so you know how sometimes you don't know which way to come in because you don't know which levels are for who. So Soul 101 is for people who are discovering themselves and who want a taste of freedom that comes from the new operating system and thriving. They want a taste of it. But as we go to the bachelor's degree, you'll see that this level, which is $33 a month, and I want to announce to you, it includes Heart Sparks, but for people who actually sign up now, we actually are giving the first month of Heart Sparks for $1. So you sign up for 12 months of School of Unlimited Life, and we're giving you the first Heart Spark call for $1. So, so in the bachelor's degree, that means you would get tomorrow night for $1, and it doesn't even matter if you could be there live. You'll get the replay, and we'll also send you, we did a call recently about dreams and how dreams affect your life, and literally how you can access 95% of that innate wisdom through your dreams. And we did a whole Heart Spark about that, and most of you don't know about that. So we will include that as part of the bachelor's degree. Okay, so the next one is, so these people in the bachelor's degree, they're really seekers. They know that there's something more. They feel the sense of urgency. It's like they're tired of waiting. They don't want to keep analyzing. They're okay with analyzing when it presents, but they just want to get on with it, right? So that's the bachelor's degree. The honors degree is a level for seekers who know they came here to experience all of who they are. They want to work directly with me. They want to get direct help. They want to be up to date on the skill sets, but because one of the things about the honors degree is as our innate abilities or as our superpowers evolve as human beings, as our ability to play with all of that which is available to us, and to be able to both be all of this and then in a body on a planet, and to be able to marry that heaven with that earth, and all of those heavenly skills to this earthly body. That's for people who just want the full Monty. And we priced it so that it's almost a no-brainer to go from $33 a month to $55 a month, because for an extra $22 a month, you can do a $555 program. So it becomes incredibly worth it, because you not only get Heart Sparks, but you also get out of your own way, which is where you'd be working directly with me. And these people with honors degree also get a free class before get out of your own way, so that we can actually prepare you so that you get the most out of it. Okay, so let's show you some more of this. Is this making sense? Are you guys digging on this? Does it feel good? Because so for bachelor's and honors, there's a private and secret page, okay? And that private page actually allows me to be able to work with you, answer some questions individually, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So here's what's included in 101, which is included in every level. So this everybody gets, no matter if you're in bachelor's or honors. You get the first 3 days of the 12 days of waking, the first 3 days of the 30 days of activations, which is about building brain bridges. You get innate ability number 37. You get intro classes to 3 different get out of your own ways. You get a great video that's an introduction to what we do and why we do it. And we give you some instructions as to how to listen to each of those things and in what order. That's 101. Okay, so those things are I mean, it's powerful. And then you probably join, if you're already on the playground, then great. And we'll play with you on the playground. And this is all about exponentiating humanity and having a playground to play together. But it isn't yet the embodiment level, right? Okay, so the next level, thanks, Rob, is the Soul Bachelor's degree. It's $33 a month for 12 months, or if you wanted to pay in whole, it's $333 a year. And you get everything from the 101. But what it includes is a 12 Days of Awakening full program. And it includes the first quarter of the original innate abilities. So of the 24 innate abilities, it includes 6 innate abilities, which are all about the superpowers you can embody. Then the monthly Heart Sparks call, which is a Q&A call where you could ask questions a week before. If you know you're going away, you could ask questions on the page and our team will collect them and I will answer your questions in our Heart Sparks call. It is completely generated by what's going on in consciousness and in your life, because what's going on in your life is what's going on in consciousness. And then together we'll actually build new superpowers and new paradigms to build bridges for us all to be free. In the process of you sharing vulnerably you, what we get to do is go into the world of deeper wisdom and have deeper wisdom give us answers that have never been given before. We get to do that once a month to continue to upgrade and flow with life. And then there's that community page I talked about, which you'll get invited to. And of course, you'll get guidance on how to listen to the 12 days, or how to listen to the innate abilities, or how to listen to the Heart Sparks and all that kind of stuff. So that, my lovelies, is what's included in this level, which just used to be monthly wake-up calls. Now what we're doing is a whole other level of being able to assist you. On that Heart Sparks page too, by the way, we will be posting a book a month. We'll be doing a book a month so that you guys will have a little, almost like a mini book club there, so that we can move energy in some of the advanced writings that are happening now. It should be really super juicy. Okay, but that's included in the Soul Honors degree as well. Soul Honors is $55 a month for 12 months, or you could pay the whole thing for $555. So for the price of actually that, the bachelor's degree includes the entire 30 days of activations, which are 30 brain bridges, which will friggin' change your life. Not even kidding. Change your life. Thank you, Rob, for editing all of that. The next is the first 3 dimensions of the 12 dimensions of DNA. You'll get 6 bonus innate abilities that we don't even have in any program yet. So innate abilities that we did as a result of a program that were advanced innate abilities that we didn't talk about in any other, like it's not even in the innate abilities program. These are some of the advancements. So we did at the end of some of our advanced courses, we taught a bonus class on innate abilities, and we're giving you all of those innate abilities. Then 1 get out of your own way online per year, or 50% off any of the in-person ones. And then if you want to do any other program, by the way, that includes the Omega Institute one, you get 30% off any second program you want to do. The best one to do is get out of your own way. So you get a huge discount. And we're also doing an annual convention, which I am announcing to you. It's like the Freedom Seeker Unicorn Convention, and we're going to co-conspire for breaking people's lives into pure freedom. We're going to do it in a very intentional way, and we are going to be looking at your projects and your dreams and blowing them up together over the course of 2.5 days. We're going to do it in Asheville, North Carolina, and everyone that's part of the bachelor's level gets 50% off. So you get, their tickets are $288. I promise you it's coming to that with the amount of attention you're going to get on your dreams and projects, it's probably for the first couple of years we'll charge this much, but it's going to be way more than that as the years go on. And the last thing that these people get is that I'm doing interviews with some real under the radar bridge building earth shakers. And when I do that, you will be invited to listen. And on some of them, you will be invited to be our participant, where you get to ask questions of people that are changing governments, changing the world, changing the environment, people that fly under the radar. And some of them are really well known to change the world. And so there are already 6 of those interviews available for people that are in this particular program. The other thing is, when we edit the program around the new operating system, you guys will be the ones, once a year, you'll get a brand new program. And for this year, the brand new program is going to be that operating system, which is going to be on our website, selling for $497, and we're just giving it to you. So that is the honors degree. So here's the deal, you guys. You can do any of these things. The point is not about like, wow, look at how cool what we've done. And actually, do you want to bring up that page again, Rob? I want to show you guys something at the bottom, because you might think to yourself, like many of you know about flight school, there are 2 other things. If we go all the way to the bottom, you will see that, oh, and I tell the story, there's a heart rock I'm carrying in Lake Titicaca, Peru. You'll also see a bunch of questions here, because you might have questions like, how do I know which level that I do? Or what if I can't make a heart spark call? Or what if I have questions between calls? Or what does all really matter anyways? What if I don't like social media? You know, should I really do this? Is it worth it? I promise you, just on the heart sparks for bachelors and on the get out of your way on the other level, it's worth it. But you'll see at the bottom here, we do actually sneakily have 2 other levels of School of Unlimited Life, the master's and the PhD program. The master's level is if you do flight school, and the PhD level is if you graduate from flight school and become one of our alumni. So if you want to find out about our advanced programs, you can go to the wideawakening.com/flight school. But in the meantime, if you already know you're not called to that, you're called to play and get assistance and ask your questions and rock and roll and get out of the way of all of consciousness and go direct, then game on, my friends. Definitely check out this page, which is the wideawakening.com/soul. Okay. And we're so happy if you have questions to ask your questions on the Facebook playground, or you can email us at divineorder@thewideawakening.com. That's Susanna, and ask her really lovely and nice if, you know, but make sure you look up the question first. Make sure it's not in our list of FAQs. Okay. So is this all making sense? Does it, like everything is put together in the spirit of how our evolution works. In order to evolve from one place to another, you need community. If you don't have community, you will go to old neurosynaptic highways in your brain. You'll go to the old. You'll go to the old way of thinking. You guys know that. I see those questions all the time on the playground. Oh, I just got caught up in something. Oh, I just got triggered. Oh, blah, 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 blah. So the playground is a great place to get a little bit of a reset from your fellow, human beings. So that's the first issue. First issue that happens to human beings is they try to do it alone and they don't use community. Then they forget that 1 + 1 = 11. So community again becomes crucial, but now that 1 + 1 = 11 for me includes that 95% of you. The next thing is, in order to receive from all of consciousness, and if I was going to draw this, it's like all the answers that we ever wanted are always pouring out of consciousness constantly. It's incessant. It's unrelentingly responding to our questions, our askings, everything we ever wanted to. No, I'm not talking about stuff. I'm talking about being able to dream and have it come to fruition and be able to flow and make the world a better place and be the contribution you came to be here. All of the answers are constantly being created on the leading edge. And being able to stay in the frequency of the answers equals not going after the problems, because as long as you, as Einstein said, as long as you're focused on the problem, no solutions can come. But even in physics, it's true. You have to be at the frequency of the solution. So hence, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way is the way of getting out of the way of all of consciousness, all of those protective mechanisms we talked about earlier. Type in some of your protective mechanisms. What are the things that you do still, even though you've done all this work? Some people say, I've done all this work on myself, but I still get into this place of beating myself up. Or I still get into this place, even though I know that, my dad's just programmed that way, I still get affected by him. Or even though, I know that there are solar flares today, I don't know how to deal with it, so it took me out. How do you get out of the way and understand yourself as the creator of all of it at one level? Understanding that intellectually is not the same thing as the next factor, which is embodiment. It's the biggest challenge I see with people, is that they're trying to have an amazing life by practicing ways of being, but they don't understand what it means to truly embody in a transcendent way, a way of being that actually is just a thriving way of being. And if you had embodied that, I promise you everything would be in flow. You would not care about other people's judgment. Everything would be coming to you. You would constantly being upgraded in first class, or whatever would be your version of that, right? What happens when you embody is you become the walking creator that consciousness intended you to be. So that's innate abilities. But first you need to get the protective mechanisms out of the way so you can receive. Then there's innate abilities. And we're constantly evolving our innate abilities to be able to embody ourselves faster. And we're constantly deepening our ability to get out of the way of all of consciousness and go direct. So each of these levels addresses the things that I started to get shown around how is it that those little kids are doing what they're doing. Then the School of Unlimited Life becomes the way to live in that degree of flow. And then if you really want mastery and PhD, you can go to the other levels, but it's really important to get out of your own way first and also embody those innate abilities as well. So that's what we're doing. That's what we created. We created a way to get out of the way of consciousness, to have a way you're constantly community, to exponentiate each other with 1 + 1 = 11, and to be able to embody your innate abilities, the abilities of which that are beyond your 3-dimensional abilities to do math and sing, or not. These are about the abilities to be able to feel energy, to commune with nature at a certain level, to be able to pull answers to things out of your butt, out of thin air, literally, to be able to let love win in situations that used to trigger you. Could you imagine letting love win and then infusing that love into everybody else so that everyone else comes up to you instead of you sinking down to them, and there wouldn't ever be a situation like that? That's where we live with innate abilities, and that is what the School of Unlimited Life is designed to do. So I hope this is all making sense, and I hope you can feel the cohesiveness of it. There's only one part that I haven't told you, and that is this, that everyone is actually going to get that dream. When you sign up, everyone's going to get that dream heart spark just at no charge. The second thing is anyone that signs up for bachelor's and honors gets the first month for $1 of the 12. And then the last thing that I was going to tell you is that making myself this available to all is a shift for me, because I tend to, and my staff tends to sort of protect what comes through me. So on those Heart Sparks pages, we get to go deep and wide. And you guys will also all get the first access to ordering the book I'm writing about the new operating system. And you'll also get the next book I'm writing, which is all about the 12 major paradigm shifts to be able to go direct with consciousness. So that's what the next book is about. So you guys will be able to get advanced copies of those too. So that's what's coming. That's what's happening. And you can sign up for the School of Unlimited Life like tonight. And so we're going to leave it available to have that dollar, the first month free for $1 until the 27th of August. Don't ask me how we picked that date, but it's till the 27th of August. And everyone who signs up tonight will be able to be live on the Heart Sparks call tomorrow, which you can guarantee that the first Heart Sparks call that includes all that comes right after us doing the 13 days of the Mayan calendar is going to be so powerful. So the last thing I want to talk about is I just want to give you a sense of what happens in Heart Sparks and what even happens even more deeply in Get Out of Your Own Way and Innate Abilities much more. Because I want to take a block of information that came through about these times of great change. So this is a bit of a transmission, just looking at the collective of everyone that's here right now. And this is where we'll finish off tonight. Again, I hope you all can register tonight so that the people in the bachelor's and the honors level, basically we just jump right in to the Heart Sparks tomorrow. And by the way, people who are in flight school, you're of course already enrolled in Heart Sparks. People who are in wings, you definitely are already enrolled in Heart Sparks. So the people in our advanced programs will actually be a part of the page too. So, and people who used to be on monthly wake-up calls and who signed up for 12 monthly wake-up calls, you are automatically enrolled in Heart Sparks as well. Okay. And so that's how we go. So the Heart Sparks are at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. So they're at 5 p.m. This is the entire thing we're doing here is to activate the next operating system. It's about creating the flowing together and being the embodiment of the example of what's possible for humanity. Every Wide Awakening adventure we go on to Peru or to Bimini to swim with the dolphins or to Atlantis or whatever it is, well, I think in flight school soon or in wings, we'll be going to Easter Island soon. When we do that stuff, what happens is the first order of business is to harmonize amongst each other, and the power that happens from the co-harmonization with very different people becomes the microcosm for the greater macrocosm of the world. And there is nothing like that feeling in the entire world. We're recreating that in the bachelor's degree and the honors degree. It's so much more than me reading off what's included and you using your logical mind to decide what makes sense. Feel it. That's where the answer, if you're going to start in our programs like that, my first clue to you is start feeling it. You have 75 trillion cells that are listening to photon packages of light that already will tell you whether it's expansive or contractive to you. And if you use your mind, you'll contract because it will be afraid of getting it wrong or be afraid of whatever. That's the very thing that stopped you in general. You have to do something different to get different results, right? So it's just logical. So fears are just your ego not wanting to expand, right? So let's talk about this 13-month calendar. Let's talk about the Egyptian, Mayan, Druid wisdom that those cultures knew, although they didn't know the full Monty of the meaning of all of it. They did know the power of flowing with the way their environment worked. They also knew that they were all linked to the cosmos, and through them using various and sundry methodologies, shaman and different plant medicines, et cetera, they discovered that they accessed their other dimensions. They accessed the 95% of them. In fact, when I was down, and I should show this to you, I just realized that I have this. These are earrings made by the Ashwar people, by feathers that they find on the ground from these beautiful birds that are in the Amazon jungle. So I hang these over here because it's just a reminder of how those people live. I want to give you a sense of why the 13 days of the new Mayan calendar, a program we just did that you can find on Facebook.com/Wide Awakening if you want to find all 13 of them. They will activate the next year for you. What we're going to be doing in Heartsparks is actually following the months and deepen our relationship to each of those evolutions and activate and expand ourselves into more and more flow and more harmony with life and each other and our ability to co-create. So whatever you're working on gets to expand and flow and grow. But in those 13 days that follow the alignment that these cultures came to, because they're all dream cultures. When I stayed with the Achwar, every morning they would do a dream ceremony at ridiculous o'clock, 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. They would take sacred tobacco, but a very mild dosage, and they would use it to clear their mind. You don't get nothing happens like that. And what they do is they found that their connection to the 95% of them was so important that they would they would deliberately go into a meditative state, let's say, and they would dream their day. They would see what the alignment of the time, the day, the weather, the cosmos, where they were versus June 21st or December 21st, where they were versus Sirius, versus the Pleiades. And they would see their relationship to all of that. And their day would be guided entirely by the 95% of the wisdom that they would tap into from their dream. Now, part of the calendar that they developed was from that dream state in the Mayan culture. Of course, the Druids operated by a 28-day cycle, as well as the Egyptians, as well as so many other many Aboriginal tribes in North America were aligned to that without even knowing about it. In so doing, what they did is they aligned with creation, because creation gave birth to the cosmos, and the cosmos includes planet Earth, which includes where you are versus the equator and how the Earth tilts and your relationship to any moon or star or anything. And cycles were born in order to maximize the ability to produce crops, to produce ideas, to develop new creations, new tools, etc. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about agrarian cultures or if we're talking about if you work in Silicon Valley right now. Your alignment with the fundamental way that this world works is so obviously crucial to any download of any dream that you have and the obviousness of the next steps. And so when we talk about the end of struggle, it's okay to have, the regular 365-day calendar, but understand that that calendar does not put you in the flow, but you can use it to schedule things and get your taxes done if you like. As we look at the 80-20 rule, which is basically do 20% of the things that cause 80% of the results, being able to align with your superpowers so that you can go direct with consciousness, and you actually much more easily can flow with higher frequency ways, ideas, and ways of operating with other people. And it becomes simpler to be able to receive because you have the ability to discern what you're receiving and you don't miss it because you're so busy trying to survive that you're not even tuned into the channel where the stuff is coming to you. As you get those abilities, you become an amazing receiver and you become attuned to what it looks like because the abilities to actually see and receive that information upgrades. That's an 80-20 rule. It's 20% of the things that get you 80% of the results. Trying to live your life without those innate abilities is always going to result in more struggle, unnecessarily, completely. Working hard to accomplish things that you think would make you feel better is not the 80-20 rule. You don't try to change your circumstances to feel better. You feel better and your circumstances will change or not, but you won't give a crap. The next piece of this is this calendar. It's not that brilliant. It's so logical when you look at it. It is brilliant, but it's brilliant in its simplicity. And it's profound at the same time, because then the Mayans started to channel languages and codes and ways to calculate numbers and ways to communicate with it. It's a genius culture. And just living by that calendar, just understanding that it exists, already taps you into so much of the wisdom that exists in that calendar. I'm just imagining as our flight school trip revs up to go there in September and wings, what's going to happen as we bring through another guide that's going to be in Egypt at the same time, and we have a conversation with them while we're in, the Mayan ruins, and then talking to the guides that we're going to have, all of the exponentiations that are going to happen based on our ability to connect, go direct with innate wisdom. So imagine right now just the knowing that there's such a simple way to align. And then, of course, it takes you down the wormhole of endless deeper wisdom. And that the calendar itself came to fruition from a group of beings tapping into their divine wisdom. The fact that the calendar is the result of people being in their superpowers means that by being a witness to each of what those 13 months means, and by asking yourself the questions and embodying the inspirational words and concept that come from each of those months of the 13, what happens is you actually start to embody the skill sets without even needing to know about them, because it's built into the wisdom that created the calendar. It's just like if you went to Japan and you learned Japanese, even the way it's spoken and how it's spoken and the intonations would start to give you a sense of the culture and how they operate. This is the same thing. So the point of this conversation is that's just one thing. I haven't been interested in the Mayan calendar for eons, probably more than a decade. I've been interested in our biology and how we upgrade so that we can go direct with consciousness and we don't have to live in a world that seems like constantly being triggered by egos and rolling and fighting for what's right. Meanwhile, you're fighting against what's wrong and causing more of what's wrong. It's time, you guys. So the Heart Sparks calls are going to involve all of that. The supercharged journey is going to be the honors degree, which is only $22 a month more. This definitely clearly is not about the money for us. It is about the collective. It's about more people. It's about 1 + 1 = 11, but 11 + 11 equals, 1,111. It's about the exponentiation of each other. And it's also about the wisdom that you all have that's going to exponentiate each other as we're all flying forward. So, which takes us back to something I talked about to put the cherry on top of the discussion. Having traveled the world, to Bali, to Thailand, been with the elephants, been with the, swum with the humpbacks, swum with the dolphins, having been to the center of Atlantis, having walked the Atlantis Road, having been activated by all of those starseed animals, having been to Peru many times, been to Ecuador with the Achwar people, been to Tofino, where the land of the giants is, having been to the Dolomites and the crop circles and all of those places, it's all led to the embodiment of all that wisdom and where the commonalities are. So we can simplify the wisdom that comes from all of it and pay it forward such that we can all get into that new operating system in a quantum way. And my job is to build those bridges so that we don't have to work so friggin' hard and do it all by ourselves. So I'm inviting you, and also saying welcome to a new dawn, a new era, a new operating system for humanity. And I look forward to playing with all of you who sign up for the School of Unlimited Life. If you know other people that feel this way, absolutely pass on the wideawakening.com/soul and have them listen to the call. At very least, they're going to get activated. At very least, they're going to feel it all. And yeah. It's not even like tuning into the Mayan calendar. It's about including everything I just mentioned and finding the common wisdom, which all of them aligned to the cosmos. Every single one of them knew that we were star-seeded. All of those areas of the world, the wisdom is in the land. But the thing is, everything we do at the Wide Awakening, because we've been to all those places, that wisdom is embedded, just like the Mayan calendar. The wisdom is embedded in our courses. And we do the 80-20 rule. In other words, probably even the 95-5 rule. What's the 5% of the things that'll give you 95% of the results, right? It's total alchemy. So I look forward to having you playing with us in whatever way. At very least, I'm just so tickled that you guys are a part of the 101 level. If you want to upgrade, just go onto the Soul page and away you go. And I'm just deeply grateful. I'm just reading what Christina says. This is also amazing. Thank you for all of what you do, and give. So grateful. Can hardly wait to get started. All your generosity is awesome. Thank you. Signing up for tonight at $55 a month. Oh, that's so great. Well, I want to thank you, Christina. It's the Christina I think of. Remember, this got catalyzed by the Omega Institute program all about the operating system. We're actually deliberately going to do a whole innate abilities program and at the Omega Institute next year. And for those of you who sign up at $55, you'll get 30% off. So that'll be a really fun time. So I love that, you guys. I love that you're here. I love that so many people stuck around to hear the conversation. I was so excited to share. I hope it didn't disappoint. I hope you get the energetic intent of what we're up to. We're going to be bringing all of the gene codes biologically and into this. And I don't mean the gene codes like the book about the gene keys. I mean, the gene codes that we look at, and it kind of includes some of those gene keys, just as a matter of fact. It's all about marrying the I Ching with Celtic wisdom, with the ancient Egyptians. All the information is right here. What we're doing is making it pragmatic in your everyday life so that you can bridge to a different way of being. And we can reach what the Vedic cultures would call city consciousness together. Not so we can ascend. I'll leave you with this. So that as heavenly beings, we can descend that heavenliness into this body and bridge it through humanity. This isn't about ascension. Your ego can get a hold of that and you miss the entire point of being alive. This is about descending into a human body instead of constantly wanting to leave because the earth or humanity sucks. If you're worried about the contrast on this planet, then let's just build the new operating system and actually bridge everyone who's asking by making the way that we operate together different, by bringing heaven through us to us. Heaven through us to us. Just build the bridge. Okay, you guys, thank you everyone. And thank you, Sabina, also for being, Sabina, I love you. You are courageously doing the same in a different way, and I adore you. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. I can't wait to play with so many of you on the Heart Sparks call. I can't wait to do some of you. I've been like wanting to do readings of your hologram for so long. It's going to be so fun tomorrow night to get all those questions and asked and answered and all that kind of stuff. Come and play. Tomorrow's Heart Sparks will be $1 if you sign up. So, and I want to thank Rob for working your butt off to make the back end of the Soul, the School of Unlimited Life work. Rob will actually do, at some point, we'll actually maybe even assist you. We'll do a little instructional on how to use your Soul Hub. And so I just want to thank Rob for just working your butt off and to get that done. You rock. Also Kara and Jeannie and Susanna and Nadine, actually my whole team has been working so hard to make this work. And I'm just deeply, deeply appreciative of their commitment to assisting people to be able to fly. Each of them has done most of our work. Most of them have done flight school. And once you do flight school, you know how powerful the transcendent work can be. So I just want you to know that I'm like the figurehead, but you got a whole field of people back there just loving you up and you didn't even know it. So mahalo back to you, Lusana. And big hugs to everyone. Wendy, I can't wait to play. And just love and love and love. All right, you guys, we'll see you soon. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. That's how we wrap those 13 days up in a bow. It is just a microcosm of the macrocosm. And just understand that awareness is key. That it's there for you right now, always was. We just haven't been operating on that level. Okay, you guys, love you. Pass it on, okay? Tell some people. We're on a mission. I didn't mention that we're taking a portion, the proceeds, and we're going to make the world a better place in a real way. I'll tell you more about that later. We're actually taking the portion of the proceeds and giving it to projects that change the world, okay? Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Soul Open House webinar. For more information on Soul, please visit www.thewideawakening.com/soul.